I don't think it would be a good idea at all. And I want to spend my time disabusing the nation, if I may, of something that I think is a misconception, and that is the actual value of the first overall pick in the NFL. This is not the NBA, where the single best thing you can win is a championship, and the next best thing you can win is the draft lottery for a chance to draft LeBron or Zion or Anthony Davis or Derrick Rose, or go up and down the list of the MVPs or future MVPs that have been the number one pick. The number one pick in the NFL draft since Peyton Manning went number one overall has been more than a mixed bag. It's been downright disappointing. Look at this. That's all your number one overall picks post-Peyton that aren't on their rookie deal still. Eli won 2 championships, put him at the top. The next best group of guys are those 3 quarterbacks. And think about this. Cam, people are done with. He's only 30 years old. Andrew Luck played 86 NFL games, and Stafford never won a playoff game. And that's your next best after Eli. Jake Long made a few Pro Bowls, but didn't make it out of his rookie contract in Miami before he moved on to 3 other teams. Clowney didn't make it out of his rookie contract with the Texans. Mario Williams didn't make it out of his rookie contract with the Texans, or make it to their second contract, I should say. And Eric Fisher has been a solid, if unspectacular, player. And then look at the next tier. Mike Vick had his highest NFL moments with his second team. Alex Smith had his highest NFL moments with his second team. Carson Palmer had his best NFL moments with his third team. Jared Goff, we'll see. Jameis Winston didn't make it to his second contract. Sam Bradford didn't make it to his second contract with the team that drafted him, and injuries riddled his entire career. And then you have the outright busts on the bottom. I left no one out. That is from Peyton Manning up until the most Myles Garrett, Kyler Murray, and Baker Mayfield. Like, this is your list, Kevin Wild. So not only would I not be super excited about having the number one overall pick, but Kevin, if I'm Miami, I certainly wouldn't be trading a bunch of assets for the number one overall pick.
Yeah, I was shocked to hear the story. I think the other little tidbit here is, I guess Miami doesn't like Tua. If they can grab Tua at 5, why are you trading everybody for Joe Burrow? So I'm going to kick it back to you, Nick. Where do you see Burrow and Tua on this pyramid if you had to project out, let's say, 5 years?
Yeah, so I'm a huge believer in Tua. And so if anyone was going to join Eli on the unquestioned right pick star player, it would be him. And I see Burrow on that tier right beneath, a Matt Stafford-ish, like, oh, yep. Nobody's mad Matt Stafford's their quarterback, and Detroit obviously has hurt him a bit, but it's like, oh, I mean, he was good, but not the guy that you can say, this is my franchise quarterback. I hope I have him for 15 years, and I believe I'm going to win championships. So, Jenna, I just think people talk about tanking in the NFL, and they talk about getting the number one pick, and, oh, I wish we would have lost that game. Which of these teams ended up after, with the benefit of hindsight saying, damn, we nailed that? I don't know that any of them feel that way except for the Giants, who, by the way, the Giants, it should be noted, had the 4th pick and had to trade into that number one spot because Eli didn't want to go to the Chargers, Jenna.
But, Greg, it's hard to justify mortgaging your future, when you're more than just one piece away, which it seems that's what Miami seems to be doing. What do you think about that and Nick's larger-than-life tier and where he has everybody placed?
Well, I'll address the Dolphins first. And when it comes to them contemplating moving up to the number one pick, whatever the case may be, I'm with Nick. I don't think they should do it because they have so many valuable picks and they have so many assets, just draft picked assets that teams would love to have, but they need. And when you look at what they've done this offseason, they've done a phenomenal job of just making sure that they address necessary needs. And now they have an opportunity to get who they want at the position that they already currently hold at the number 5 overall pick. And Kevin, to address your point about maybe they're not as high on Tua, I completely disagree. I think that if the reason that they would even consider trying to move up to number 1 is because of all of the knowledge that we're starting to get and information about Tua being healthy and being cleared to 100% be involved in all activities, and his hip is not becoming an issue. I think that is concerning to them to almost want to believe that there may be one of these other teams that want to go and grab Tua right away. So I don't even want to give them that opportunity. So with that, I could understand why you would go all in on a player who you believe will completely turn around your franchise and be that heir apparent to Dan Marino, because they have not had a quarterback be anywhere close. Chad Pennington was probably the next best quarterback in Miami since Dan Marino. And so when you have this opportunity, you got to take it. But I don't think they should. As far as Nick's a pyramid, Michael Vick, man, you got to have Vick higher, man. With some of the guys that you got as solid players, Vick is definitely a solid, if not higher player. He was a franchise quarterback now.
All right, well, before, Nick, you react, that's an interesting wrinkle that you brought up. The assumption is that Miami would jump up, obviously, to grab Burrow, which everyone assumes is the number 1 pick, to run up to grab Tua and still take the rest of your draft capital. Well, that's just an interesting angle. But, Nick, there are 3 guys you did leave off your list, 3 number 1 picks for whom the jury is still out because they are still young on their rookie deals: Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, Myles Garrett. If you had to project those 3, where would you place them?
So a number of things. I think Myles Garrett would fit perfectly within the Clowney, Mario Williams, solid players. Maybe he'll be better. Maybe he'll be transcendent. But Mario Williams was a very good NFL player that didn't bring you quite the value of the number 1 overall pick. Same with Clowney. Baker, you would have to, right now, projects as a hit-or-miss quarterback. His rookie year was a hit. His second year was a miss. Kyler, we have such a limited sample, I'm almost hesitant to slot him anywhere. Quickly, just to respond to Greg about Vick, listen, Vick's one of my favorite players ever. But given what happened to him off the field, and given that he reached his pinnacle of success with Philadelphia, if you're the Atlanta Falcons and you spend the number 1 pick on Michael Vick, you look back on it and say, it didn't pan out the way we hoped. Now, if we are projecting forward, though, Jenna, and Kevin, I'll kick this to you, there's a guy not on this who is not even in this year's draft, in Trevor Lawrence, that everything I said about the number 1 overall pick being overrated, I will take all the way back for Trevor Lawrence and his draft class specifically, because I think he's a future superstar when he comes out in 2021. I don't know where you land on that, Wilds.
Well, you know where I land on it. We know that Belichick is stacking picks, and I think people are going to make an insane haul. Someone's going to take an insane haul for Trevor Lawrence. Like next year, I think it's interesting. Like, what would you do next year if you were a terrible team? Suppose you were the Bengals again. Do you definitely take Trevor Lawrence, or do you have if you have a huge amount of picks coming to you, would you take picks or Trevor Lawrence?
I think Trevor Lawrence is the surest thing we've seen in the league coming out of college since Peyton. You could offer me the Ricky Williams trade, and there is no deal I would take to not take Trevor Lawrence if I needed a quarterback. And your pipe dream, so the Patriots in 3 years, their quarterback roster is going to be Trevor Lawrence, the starter, Cam Newton, the backup, and Tom Brady on his age 45 seasons, the third stringer. I think those are the 3 quarterbacks you've mocked to New England over the last 96 hours. I love it.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.